Yeah, well, we're gonna start collecting ornaments again. All those fire ornaments were mine, from my garage that I put up. Yeah.
They sent me over here to keep an eye on it.
Oh, good.
I'm getting an eye on it because I've got a hearing problem. I missed one of my hearing aids. And I get better coverage if I'm over on this side of it. How much did we put back?
You want to know? How much did we put back?
Good evening. What am I doing here?
Good evening. I'd like to welcome you all to the December 6th, 2010 Washougal City Council meeting, and ask that you please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Mrs. Forsberg, could you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Coaston? Present. Councilmember Russell?
Present.
Councilmember McDaniel?
Here.
Councilmember Delavar?
Present.
Councilmember Greenlee?
Here.
Councilmember Morris?
Here.
Councilmember Shoemaker?
Just a quick note, we had to switch a couple of council members this evening because not all of us got the herringbone jacket memo, so put them all towards one end.
Would you watch your emails just a little closer, please?
Next meeting.
That was good.
We didn't either.
Yeah. We are at that.
Did you do that for Barbara's sake?
I
So she would
did
know?
not. We are at that point in the agenda for public comments. Any individuals wishing to address the council this evening, please step forward and give your name and address.
Don Boland, 32934 Southeast 20th Street. And I wanted to talk to you. I thought we were going to be talking about approval for Project 14 this evening, but that was my mistake. But since I'm here and had a few things to say, I thought I would. If you recall, there was a meeting in August and September concerning the Highway 14 project when WashDOT was presenting it. I attended that meeting and I became a little concerned because I didn't feel it was really business friendly. So based on that, I started talking to a few businesses, and what the business told me immediately was Project 14 without the bridge is a mistake. They said that they went to the, and this isn't, by the way, this comment was focused really at WashDOT. They said that when they had their series of meetings, it was like no one listened. They were very arrogant in telling them what they needed rather than asking them what they needed to run their business. And the other thing in the field, they said it's too late to do much. So I came back and I did talk to the council and said that, and at that point, I guess the council, I remember this, said, well, this really isn't our business. Which, you know, I feel if it represents business in Washougal, it is your business. And I got suggestions, maybe I should go to Olympia, do some other things, but talking to the council wasn't going to be effective. And I pretty much ignored that because I think you really do represent the businesses. After that meeting, Dave came up to me, Schumacher, and said, I'd like to meet these people personally. So we had a meeting at the hotel, and it was interesting. First of all, it was just interesting because they immediately got to a core problem. They said, forget about the bridge. Even if it's a mistake, it's something they'll have to correct. They said, the biggest problem is the on and off ramps. And whatever they do, let's make sure they work for the business. And let's see. Oh, they also said at that point, eliminate the roundup. But anyway, since I thought you were talking tonight, this morning we had another meeting with the business people. And I thought it was very effective too, because one of the things, they looked at the current plan and they said, you know, what can we do to really solve our off and on problem? And yet, putting themselves in your shoes, realized that we want to minimize the impact on the project. And they have some answers, or they have some proposals, which they talked to 3 of the council members that were there, which is Dave and Michael and John. So at the appropriate time, the businesses certainly want to talk to you about their idea. And hopefully, in fact, their view is it would maximize the off and on capability, but really minimize the impact on your project. And finally, the only other thing I'd like to say is the Post Record is here every week. And I always read in the meeting what happened in the Post Record. And I get the feeling that there's a lot of comments on what the officials say and very few comments on what the public has to say. And so I just personally would appreciate it if it was a little more balanced. Thank you.
You bet, Don. My apologies. We had the concurrency letter for WashDOT was asked to be pulled by the department head last week, just to clarify some information for the Department of Transportation in that part of what was contained in there. So that's the reason that item is not on the agenda this evening. Any other members of the public that would wish to address the council?
Kimberly McCoby, 930 Northwest View Ridge Court. I'm just here for one last plea. I know you're voting on the budget tonight. The $25,000 that we've received in the past years for our services to the city has barely sustained us for those services. So my last plea is just to not cut us all the way down to 4, because it would just really chop our legs off, you know, as we speak. So if you could, it's such a drastic 84% decrease that I just don't see how we can survive with those services with that amount. So any amendment that could happen or any change would be greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Kimberly. Anyone else from the public? Mrs. Terrell?
I wanted to thank Trevor and his gang for filling the hole on G Street. I think all this good work ought to be noted, so thank you, Trevor.